government has satisfied the court that the jail conditions are good in India. Barrack number 12 has been prepared. They say they have a watertight case against you, sir.
That is for the judge to decide.
But sir, they've also said that they've said that there's a fraud, there's intention to deceit, a 950-page charge sheet.
I know you're from Republic, a very famous channel that's seeking a lot of TRP. Please listen to the proceedings before the court. I have nothing more to say.
But sir, the proceedings are also saying that...
Well, for NDTV as well.
Mr. Mallya, are you confident?
Just how do you
Are
feel
you confident
today?
that you will win this?
It is not up to me to decide. You will hear the proceedings in court, and then you can come to your own conclusions.
Mr. Mallya, there's a 950-page charge sheet by the ED that says there was money laundering. What do we say on that charge sheet?
I have said repeatedly that these are all false, fabricated and baseless charges, and that is my stand.
Why do you think there's a political witch hunt going on here?
I don't need to answer these questions when the hearing is about to start. Please come and hear the submissions made to the judge.
Mr. Mallya, the defense witnesses also say that the Indian Supreme Court was biased. Do you think the Indian Supreme Court was biased?
You know, these questions are entirely inappropriate. Come to the court and listen.
Mr. Mallya, the defense witnesses in your favor have said that you're a party man. There are glamorous celebrities. Barry Humphrey also says and compares you to Richard Branson. But the point...
I tell you, this is just inappropriate.
Yeah.
The court hearing is going to start in half an hour. Listen to the submissions in court. I have nothing to say.
But what about the CBI charge sheet of 14,000 pages?
You look rested, Mr. Mallya. Quick question on what your thoughts are this morning.
How does it
There
feel
are
to
no-
have waited so long for your day in court?
There are no thoughts. The submissions in court will be self-evident. So please listen to them.
I have read your submissions and I've read the submissions of the Indian government.
Look,
We do feel that the submissions are watertight.
Unfortunately, your channel seems to think they are the court themselves. So let's stop it.
Yeah.
Mr. Mallya, other than the rhetoric, I'm just asking a simple question on the CBI's charge sheet here.
There is nothing simple about this. You are outside a court. Come inside and listen for yourself.
Okay, guys. Mr. Mallya, do you think the CBI's charge sheet is also a political witch hunt?
And Mr. Mallya,
Mr. Mallya, they say that the prison conditions are absolutely
Mallya,
fine in India. What do you have to say on that?
Nothing.
I mean, they say that...
Hear it in the court.
Mr. Mallya, are you on strong ground?
Gave you a strong hearing in 2015. I was inside the court.
Are you
when they gave
confident
hearing.
that the allegations
But
raised
there is
against you
very
are
clearly a mention here in Alan Mitchell's in your Martina Lou's statement, defense witness, who says that you were not given a fair hearing. How is the Indian Supreme Court to blame as well?
On a scale of 1 to 10, how confident
sir?
are you of prevailing here?
Jonathan, it's not for me to decide.
How is the Indian Supreme Court also to be attacked here, Mr. Mallya? Do you think the Indian Supreme Court is wrong and biased against the creditors?
Yeah,
sir?
you are
Just like your defense witness?
political conspiracy. Is it fair? They say you are a member of parliament and you are now claiming in a foreign land that it's a political conspiracy.
Mr. Mallya, 2015 you escape in lap of luxury with 7-8 bags. Why did that happen if you did believe in the system in India?
Mr. Mallya, there are allegations that ranking politicians are facing in India of helping you.
Mr. Mallya, you have a rhetoric against Republic, but simple questions. We've gone through the
I
dossier.
have no rhetoric against anybody.
Would you give an interview to us, sir?
The trouble is, you are 30 minutes away from a formal court hearing. Listen to the submissions yourself and report accurately. I have nothing to say.
Do you feel the case against you is robust, though? Do you feel the actual case against you holds water?
Jonathan, you should know better.
Mr. Mallya, we've seen the case and I do believe it's a watertight case that the Indian government has made against you. We've seen the 14,000 page charge sheet and the 950 crore money laundering charge. They've said that you're guilty of fraud, of deceit, of intention to bias, of manipulation. How do you respond to that?
Mr. Mallya, I'll again repeat.
These are very serious charges. Prima facie, you can be extradited back sooner than later.
And they're saying that you use the parliamentary route
I
to
know,
escape the
I know, I
country.
know.
Can we
So
just
they're
get
saying
to the
that
back
you're
of the queue?
Mr. Mallya, what do you have to say about the charges of the ED and the CBI, the team, a joint mission by the government?
Poor old Vijay, he's going to have to submit himself to this for the next 10 minutes.
Mr. Mallya, apparently in Tewin, the village you live at, they are very happy. Oops.
Careful.
They're very happy with you as their neighbor and actually do not want you to leave. Any thoughts on your life in Hertfordshire, the village you live at?
I've been living in England since 1992.
Yeah.
So obviously I have friends.
Mr. Mallya, why did you escape?
In India, Mr. Mallya, very powerful friends, and they are
Why did you escape here, sir? Why the need to escape? I spoke to senior advocates in India and they said they didn't. You approached them to take on your case and they didn't take it on.
Returning to England, where I've lived since 1992, is not an escape.
Would you want to come back to India? Would you come back to India?
At least get back to India and clear your name, Mr. Mallya. What's the big
Are you
harm
not
in that?
aching, Mr. Mallya, to meet your friends in India?
You know, you're right outside the court, and everything is going to be said.
speaker.
So
Yes, please do ask.
Mr. Mallya, I mean, the fact of the matter is that the country's top ministers are being accused of helping you in terms of filling the country. Keep moving. Just not want to clarify on that part. People in politics help you flee the country.
We have to keep moving.
Sir, are you talking?
yeah, I know.
Can you move out the way, please, so we can get into court?
Thank you.
So Arnab is asking, would you like to wear prison clothes in
The fact of the matter is that both the CBI and ED say that you have taken away public money and you were a public representative.
So why are you running away?
And why not just clarify? Why not just clarify on that point?
So a million Indian wants
Even
to
if-
see you. Why are you running away?
Even if this is a court,
So why are you running away? Arnab is asking you a question, sir. Why are you running away?
the fact is that popular politicians there back in the country are trading charges. The Prime Minister is being accused, and other politicians are also being accused. Top ranking,
So would you
the
reply?
top
Arnab is asking
politicians
you
are
a
also being
question,
being accused that you used the parliamentary route to escape, Mr. Mallya. And Mr. Mallya, would you not want to clarify on the fact
Sir, you can hear Arnab answer the
temple of
question,
democracy to
sir.
escape? They say that you visited Parliament, used
Sir,
parliamentarians.
answer the question he's asking you.
there are many allegations, all of which are going to be answered.
So why are you
You
running
can
away from
hear
the
for
public?
yourself. I mean,
course I
it's very,
can, but
They need an interpreter.
and the fact is that
So why are you
people say
not
that you
answering the
visited
question?
Parliament
Please
a day before the fact, before you were leaving the country, and some very top politicians helped you escape the country. Would you not escape? Yeah. They say that an LOC from CBI was clandestinely withdrawn. There was a lookout circular against.
sorry about that.
Sir, if you can answer the questions that we are putting to you, sir.
And it was certainly clandestinely withdrawn, Mr. Mallya. A lookout circular from the Central Bureau of
Sir, will you
Investigation.
just answer the questions that have been put to you?
Can I just give it?
You have no right. You must return the money and return the money now.
Sir, would you return the money, sir?
Mr. Mallya, if the case
Sir, Mr. Goswami is asking a
against you is
simple
wrong,
question. Would you return
then
the
why
money, sir?
not, at least face the trial in India?
It's a fairly comfortable, let me tell you, it's a fairly comfortable arrangement that they have for you. And my reporter Ridham Anand Bhardwaj is standing there. Mr. Mallya, you don't have to tell us we are a famous channel, we know that. We want to know why you're running away from us, Mr. Mallya. And I have the details of the barrack that has been made for you. There is a barrack number 12 in Arthur Road Jail which is ready for you. Your prison cell will be 20 feet by 15 feet. You will have a 20 feet by 15 feet cell. You will have a separate toilet for your comfort and 3 ceiling fans and 6 tube lights. There are 2 such cells in the barrack. You will also be allowed to have bananas with food, have fresh food and do yoga inside the Arthur Road prison. This prison also has an open view of the sky, and I'm sure that you as the king of good times will have a good time there, Mr. Mallya. So my question to you is, Mr. Mallya, would you take some real questions and not do some soft whispering out there? Because where has all your swagger gone today? You're just standing there, you know you need to come back. You can't play victim at the hands of the
We can see the color
government.
walking out of his face as
Witnesses
Arnab.
themselves have no faith in you, now you walked away. So Rhythm, he's walked away out there, I saw him there. What was his response as we asked him those questions?
I can hear you, Arnab, and I would like to tell our viewers that even as those questions are there, Arnab, and he could hear you, I could see the color draining out of his face. He heard the question. With each question, he became paler. It's one of the first times that I've actually seen literally the English expression, the color draining out of his face. He came extremely confident, like every time, thinking that he would get no answers. He would be the same time as every time. But this time, facing the tough questions of Republic, facing your questions, there was absolute silence. He looked the other way. The color left his skin. He paled and he didn't answer them. Let's also tell our viewers, Republic is the only channel that he mentioned 3 to 4 times. He thinks that we have a campaign against him. But like you mentioned, the only thing we're trying to do is ask for accountability. He talks about jail conditions. All we're saying is that there needs to be accountability for
Fantastic. I just love that, the way you cornered him when you got him there, Rhythm, when you were asking him the questions out there. I mean, it's so pathetic. Which was the pathetic channel which was asking him how he enjoyed his time in Hertfordshire? Which was the pathetic channel which actually asked him whether his people in Hertfordshire continued to want him to stay? I mean, that must be a really compromised channel. Which was the channel asking that question? What a shame in the name of journalism that was. And there were some other colleagues of some other smaller channels standing there next to you who were asking him questions such as, let me add on to what Rhythm said. My question to you, Rhythm, was that I found it very interesting that not one single journalist was asking a really serious question to Vijay Mallya. Not one serious journalist. Is that because they did not have the information? Is that because they really had no idea about what was going on inside the court? Or is it because they had no access to those papers that you had? You were the only person with access on both sides of the papers. Is that why they were not saying anything? Because they had no information beyond asking them blasé, bland questions. They went totally unprepared. How could you do that? You had a whole 20-minute sequence out there, and you were the only reporter out there asking the questions for them. The only reporter.
Yes, Arnab, the point is they didn't know what's happening. I also think that there's been a certain charm that's associated with Vijay Mallya walking into court and these London reporters asking him these kind of blast questions. But Arnab, the most important point,
We got Mallya. He calls us a famous channel seeking TRPs, and we've told him what we think he is. He's a person who deserves to be in an Indian jail, wearing prison clothes, eating prison food. Back to you in the studios.